Good morning, everyone. I am Tim Shook, the chair of the Division of Fine Arts at Southwestern College, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to the Callison stage in the beautiful Richardson Performing Arts Center. This brunch is in honor of the 2016 Southwestern College Fine Arts Hall of Fame inductees, whom you will hear at the ceremony following. Since time is pressing, and without further ado, we will move forward with the meal, and then we'll clear the stage and begin the Hall of Fame induction at 10 a.m. At this time, I would like to invite the Reverend Tom Walt Robinstein, class of 1959, to share a blessing for the meal.
The President challenged us yesterday to be sensitive to beauty. And I've been haunted by that since he made that challenge. And something in the back of my mind kept saying, now I'm familiar with something from someplace, and it is a prayer from an old book of worship I want to share. Our Father, who has set a restlessness in our hearts and made us all seekers after that which we can never fully find, forbid us to be satisfied with what we make of life, draw us from base content, and set our eyes on far-off goals. Keep us at tasks too hard for us, that we may be driven to Thee for strength. Deliver us from fretfulness and self-pity. Make us sure of the goal we cannot see, and of the hidden good in the world. Open our eyes to simple beauty all around us, and our hearts to the loveliness men hide from us because we do not try hard enough to understand them. Save us from ourselves, and show us a vision of a world made new. May Thy Spirit of peace and illumination so enlighten our minds that all life will glow with new meaning and new purpose through Jesus Christ. Amen.
Well, as the meal is being served, I will take a moment to point out some special guests we have with us at each of your tables. Would Hall of Fame members from this or any Hall of Fame, as well as any family members representing them, please stand. So any current or past? All right. We are so pleased that each of you have decided to join us as we celebrate those who joined your ranks today. Would the students in attendance please stand? Beginning with Luke, please introduce yourself to the group.
I'm Luke Nicolay, and I'm a Bachelor of Music and Music Performance degree here at Southwestern. I went to school at Douglas, but I'm from Augusta, Kansas.
And we'll be graduating
This year.
Deborah?
My name is Deborah Martin. I'm a senior, and I'm finishing my Bachelor of Arts in Music with a minor in Business Administration. Aside from music, I enjoy reading, traveling, and photography.
Good morning. My name is John Rohr. I'm also a senior with getting my bachelor's in both performance and technical theater, and I am from Ark City, Kansas.
I'm Tori Turner. I'm also a senior. I'm a theater performance major, and I'm from Garden City, Kansas.
I'm Anna Roselle. I'm a technical theater major from, and I'm a senior from Wichita.
I'm Megan Morrow. I'm a junior, and I'm a theater major, and I do 9 Lives Improv, and I'm so excited to be here with all of you.
I am Aaron Jeffries. I'm a guitar major, music education major. I'm from Bird City, Kansas, and obviously the oldest one out of all of them.
Thank you. We hope you all enjoy the brunch and this time of fellowship. Well, thank you, Luke. That was a wonderful, wonderful rendition. We are pleased to welcome so many of you here for this induction celebration. I am Tim Shook, and I serve as chair for the Division of Fine Arts. Before we begin, would you please once again help me thank Mr. Luke Nicolay and his teacher, Dr. Jim Leland, for the fine performance. We hope you have had an opportunity to view the Physical Fine Arts Hall of Fame display in Dartmouth lobby. There you will see, in addition to an outstanding group of inductees, a plaque to recognize that this hall was underwritten by the Jenkins Endowment, funded by Mr. Charles Kopke, Southwestern College class of 1944. This recognition is to honor 20 years of fundraising service to Southwestern College by Mr. Ronnie Jenkins. Ronnie, would you please stand? Before we begin with our current Hall of Fame, I'd like to introduce you to some future ones. Would our seniors please join us? Please introduce yourself and tell us about your plans after graduation.
Hello, I'm Tori Fairbank. After graduation, I will go to my home city of Garden City and work over the summer and save up money to move to Buffalo, New York in August with my fiance. And get in touch with some theaters and volunteer and attend auditions next year.
My name is Deborah Martin, and in 3 weeks, I will be graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Music and a minor in Business Administration. My dream is to attend graduate school for choral conducting with the hope of becoming a professor someday. In the meantime, I am looking for opportunities to gain teaching experience in the U.S. and in Southeast Asia.
Good morning, my name is Luke Nicolay, and I am a senior performance major here at Southwestern College. I'll be graduating in just a few weeks. I am going to be attending the University of Kansas in the fall, where I will be pursuing a Master's of Music in organ and church music, and hopefully we'll be working in a church up there. And I'm very excited for the opportunities that I've had here at Southwestern and look forward to the future.
Hi, my name is John Rohr. I am a senior technical and performance theater major. This summer, I am planning to return to the Millbrook Playhouse in Mill Hall, Pennsylvania as the assistant technical director, and following that, I will hopefully be returning to the area to do some work at Cowley. Thank you.
I'm Anna Roselle. I'm a bachelor's of theater with an emphasis in technical theater. This summer, I'm going to go down to Santa Fe to work on the props production crew at Santa Fe Opera House. And then after that, I will be pursuing my theater career in either Chicago or New York.
The Southwestern College Fine Arts Hall of Fame was established in 2009 to lift up alumni and friends who have significant achievements in the arts. With this hall, we give recognition and honor to those whose creative abilities and dedication has allowed them to bring unparalleled beauty, grace, and entertainment to the world. For that, we recognize these worthy individuals for their efforts. On behalf of Southwestern College, it is my privilege to present this honor. Before we officially begin the inductions, I want to express that this is a special Hall of Fame year for me. Since the Fine Arts Hall began, I have thoroughly enjoyed reading the impressive contributions and meaningful bios of those nominated for the Hall. This year is the first where I have seen the award come full circle. Today's inductees matriculated during my tenure as professor. The honor is indescribable and brings complete satisfaction to the decision I made to teach decades ago. In the past, we've seen serendipitous commonality as those honored entered stage and gave their responses. While contemplating the three honored today, I thought of their past student years, and as I've seen them flourish professionally beyond what I could have thoughtfully conceived. Several words and characteristics come to mind, and I would like to share a couple with our current students especially. Entrepreneurial is one. Taking considerable initiative and risk when organizing and managing their enterprise. Take note, students, their artistic enterprise. The second is intrinsic motivation, an inner drive. The ability to sustain entrepreneurship is a result of inner drive. The inner drive was evident in each one of these inductees while they were in school, and especially when they launched their careers. I call your attention to the beautiful glass on the table beside me here. These handmade awards are given annually to Fine Arts Hall of Fame inductees. They are handcrafted by Mr. Scott Hartley, who fittingly is with us today as a new inductee to this hall. Scott has for several years been the artist who creates the Hall of Fame Award. As a Southwestern College science major, Scott went on to use his artistic talents and his knowledge of science to become a master glass blower. We are fortunate to be able to give these unique gifts to our inductees to permanently remind them of their honored place in our hall. Scott I. Hartley, graduate 97. I first met Scott through his art when he created these beautiful awards for the Fine Arts Hall of Fame. I then began seeing his displays at art shows at venues around Wichita. I met him in person at an art show in Wichita at Bradley Fair. It was with respect I put the face with the name and noticed other beautiful work done with glass. He combines a skill and passion to create these works of art and those you see in the Dartmouth President's Gallery. Scott Hartley graduated with a degree in biology education and began teaching high school biology and physical science. Science was a love, but art was always a passion in his life. The students appreciated his science artwork on the board during labs and discussions, and he incorporated art into his lessons whenever possible. In 1999, the opportunity arose for him to pursue art full-time. Even though he had never blown glass, watching molten glass being manipulated left him spellbound. In 2003, Hartley opened his own glassblowing studio and gallery, Infinity Art Glass, in Benton, Kansas. His work is now in over 100 galleries, as well as in museums and private collections around the world. Hartley continues his love for teaching by conducting school tours, field trips, and educational demonstrations of glassblowing. Please welcome Scott to the Fine Arts Hall of Fame.
Thank you guys very much. Cue music. No, wait. The one thing that I want to tell you is it's only going to get better from here because these guys probably speak way more eloquently than I do. So here we go. I've got a few things that I've written down just so I don't bumble this all up, but I probably will anyway. So more into the physical arts, the 3D rather than music and speaking. So you can already tell that I'm a little uncomfortable in this thing. Usually a t-shirt and jeans are more appropriate for my attire. I tried to dress it up a little bit because this is a special occasion for me. So when I got the letter saying that I was being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I opened it and I saw Hall of Fame on it and I thought, well, I played basketball here, but I immediately was like, I wasn't good enough. That can't be it. And then I read a little farther. I was like, well, the Fine Arts Hall of Fame. Now, wait a second here. I was in the science department. How does this all work out? I'm a little confused. And I read through it longer, and I thought, wow, this is pretty amazing that I've been selected for this honor. I still didn't really understand it, though. So usually when that sort of thing happens, I go to the studio and I work and I think. Working with glass and in the studio is like a meditation. You have to be there in the moment or bad things can happen. You kind of soak yourself into the work, and it took a couple days of me just kind of working, and I started to realize that this is an unbelievable honor for me because it's not, the basketball, yeah, that was something I did. That's a cool honor for so many people, but that's something I used to do. This is an honor for something I do now, and I will continue to do. It's my life's work. How cool is that? He said a lot of what I was going to say. So eloquent. So I did teach before I started doing glass. I kind of fell into it. Was fortunate enough to go and watch it one time. My in-laws actually knew another glassblower, and we kind of hit it off, and I started working for him and learning the process, which is an incredible process. But really, I watched it one time and was hooked. I wanted to do it. About a month before this opportunity happened, my wife, Gwen, was talking to me, and she said, well, I was teaching at the time. She said, do you still see yourself teaching for the rest of your life? And I said, no, I really don't. I love it, but I don't see myself teaching. She said, if you could do anything, what would it be? And I said, well, I'd love to do something in art, but I know you can't make a living doing it. And we dropped it from there. So about a month later, this opportunity came around, and it's one of those times in your life where you are at a fork in the road. And for me, it was I going to look back and regret it if I didn't do this for my entire life? And of course that was yes. I would have regretted every moment. Thought what could have been. So I made the leap from teaching. I'd already signed my contract for the next year and everything, so I had to give money back. The principal thought I was insane. A lot of people thought I was insane, actually. Went for it, learned the ropes. It's an amazing medium. Was able to work for another gentleman for several years, and then went out on my own and opened my own studio, and the rest is history, so they say. When I graduated from here, I felt like I could do anything I wanted. My degree was in biology education, but it didn't matter. I believed that I could do whatever I wanted. That's not an arrogant statement. That is a statement because of this institution. A liberal arts education, taking a variety of classes, I really had a lot of options. Obviously, this is not where I thought I would end up, but I'm happy to be here. I want to take a minute to thank those people that have been supportive of me and guided me and motivated me over the years. They typically don't get enough props. My parents, first of all, my big brother, they've been supportive of me since the very beginning. They may have thought I lost my mind when I bought a studio that was a woodworking shop that was a complete dump to fix it up, but they were still supportive, and they knew that I had a vision of what I wanted and that I would go after it. They were supportive then. They continue to be supportive of me. Thank you, guys. My in-laws, they've always been there for me and given me so much confidence. I will never forget this one statement. Every time you step to the plate, you hit a home run. That's a pretty bold statement, but it gives a guy a lot of confidence to do whatever the heck he wants. I want to thank all my professors, friends, clients, all those people that have for years past and continue to support me in what I do and allow me to do this as a full-time job, to create artwork. Not many people get to do that. I'm very thankful for all of you that supported me before and are still continuing to support me. I want to thank my kids, who I know all of them are destined to change the world. They inspire me every day to be a better person. And all three of them have changed more lives in their short lives so far than I probably ever will in my life. And this sort of seems strange to be thanking these people, but I also want to thank all those that doubted me over the years. I would guess they're not here today. But those that said I couldn't, they fueled me to say, why not? And lastly, I want to thank my wife, Gwen. If I get choked up, you'll have to. For always believing in me. No matter what I did, she believed in who I am. Sometimes more than I believed in myself. I've never met someone more selfless as you. Your strength and your positivity amazes me every single day. Thank you for all you do for me, Gwen. I hope that, obviously this not speech is going to be that impactful in your life, but hopefully these guys will do a better job. But I hope that my story of pursuing art inspires people to pursue their passion in life, whatever it might be. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for having me, and thanks for this honor.
Having been invited by an area piano teachers group to give a workshop and master class in Great Bend, Kansas, I met Tim as a young teenage pianist. Once at Southwestern, Tim conducted his first opera on Messenger Stage. For this senior project, I believe he organized, coached, hired the pit, scheduled the hall, promoted, printed the programs, and then conducted Menotti's The Medium. One of the many fond memories involving Tim was taking a trip to Washington, D.C. with 7 other students in my politics and the arts class. While there, we spent an evening at the Kennedy Center. We attended a performance of the National Symphony Orchestra. And looking back, I wonder, did Tim think to himself, one day will I conduct in these halls? Whether he did or did not think that to himself, he has conducted not only in one of those halls, but, well, all over the world. And when I saw his picture on Facebook conducting my favorite and one of the world's favorite lyric mezzo-sopranos, Frederica von Stade, at the Lincoln Center in New York, I was astonished. Yet, maybe by now, not surprised. All I could do was say, well done. And with admiration, know he not only heard Flicka live, he has collaborated with and conducted her in several performances. Timothy A. Myers, graduate of 2000, is the artistic and music director of North Carolina Opera and one of the youngest artistic leaders in American opera. With a diverse repertoire of symphonic works and more than 70 operas, Myers has his finger on the pulse of today's musical world. His commanding performances of the core repertoire are enhanced by his passion for fusing genres and styles, and his personal warmth and approachability forge connections with audiences internationally. In addition to North Carolina Opera, his guest conducting engagements have included numerous opera houses and symphonic orchestras in America and abroad. For 3 seasons, Myers was the principal guest conductor of Opera Africa in Johannesburg, where he led nearly 30 performances and assisted the company in artistic development. Please welcome Maestro Tim Myers to the Fine Arts Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Thanks, Tim, for that introduction. And it's a great day to be here and to see a hall where I spent a lot of time and did a lot of performances on this stage, beautifully renovated and representing this institution so wonderfully. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about, I'm going to speak kind of directly to the students here, and if the rest of you would like to listen in, that's great. But I just want to acknowledge some things that Southwestern gave to me and how those have been in application throughout my life. As Dr. Shook mentioned, my senior project was producing an opera, and I didn't really know anything about opera, but I was curious. I was very interested in conducting, and I thought, well, I think I should conduct an opera, as one does. And so I went to Michael Wilder, who was then the head of the Fine Arts Department, and I said, I would like to do this opera. And he said, well, that's a great idea, and we wish you all the best. But we don't really have, we'll of course give you space to do it, but of course we don't really have any financial resources for you, et cetera. But nonetheless encouraged me to make an effort to do what I wanted to do and to see it as possible for myself and for others. And so I did write a grant to the Kansas Arts Commission and some other foundations, and the school did end up chipping in some money. I found other students to collaborate with in producing this, and Eric Courtwright, who is a theater and music major, was the director, and I remember going to Seth Leeper, who was a business major, and everybody knows that business majors don't do anything the last year of school. So I said, don't you need a senior project, right? Why do you want to do marketing for the opera? And he said, sure. And so he went and got the paperwork written up for his independent study and submitted it. And once he submitted the paperwork, I said, okay, here's the deal. Before every performance, 5 minutes before, I'm going to go to the box office, and whatever tickets are left, you're buying. And we sold out the opera. But all of these things are things that I now use in my everyday life. I might not be on the micro level with a lot of these, but as the leader of a cultural institution, these are things where my direct knowledge of these things that came from Southwestern are applicable to me in everyday life, because I know exactly what's going on, and I'm able to frame these things in a context of knowledge and experience that help me assist my colleagues in doing their best work. And just a few bullet points of things that, as I was thinking this morning, I wasn't planning to write any notes, and I ended up jotting down just a few things because I want you to have some takeaways. And the first thing that I learned is the best thing to do in life is to show up. And not just show up, but get out on the court. I think a lot of us can spend time in our lives sitting in the stands watching other people play the game. And that doesn't get you anywhere. And that was something that at Southwestern I really learned and was really encouraged to get out on the court and to play with others, to collaborate and use the resources around you to make something happen for yourself and for others. One of the other things that I think has served me really well, and at first I wasn't sure this was a good trait, and now at 40 I believe it is, and that's to be ignorant of difficulty. It's a real gift to give yourself to be ignorant of difficulty, and to not allow, just because someone else thinks something should be difficult or society thinks something should be hard to do, that it is. So relieve yourself of that. The third is to be persistent in curiosity. That is something that I think serves you throughout life every day. If you wake up and you are curious about something and about making something happen for yourself and for others, you will be served well. And then the last is express gratitude by saying it and then by giving. And the fundraising department didn't ask me to put the giving part in there, although I'm sure they're happy I did, yeah. But it's about giving to others and giving and being generous in what you give to those around you, and taking the gifts that you've been given and the experiences that you've been given at a place like Southwestern and then using those to benefit others, because that's when they really come to life. And I know that I'm grateful to Southwestern and to Dr. Shook, who is my major professor here. I watched Ronnie Jenkins raise money, and I raise money every day in my career now for the organizations for which I work. So you just never know what you're learning here that someday is going to happen in your life, and you're going to know what to do because you saw other people do it and you had the experience to actually do it, and nobody told you that you couldn't do it or it was too hard. And that is for what I'm most grateful to Southwestern for. And so I'd like to thank everyone here at Southwestern and the institution for what you've done for me, my family for supporting me throughout my career. And I invite you to consider that nothing is difficult. Thank you.
Brandon Q. Smith, graduated in 1998. Brandon embodies the true liberal arts spirit. I first heard him audition for a music scholarship in Johnson City, Kansas, on the trombone. And if you don't know where Johnson City is, it's just before you step over into Colorado. I hadn't heard of it before we went there. But while at Southwestern, he was involved in choir, theater, graphic arts, and oh yes, he majored in music and English. My memories are of Brandon challenging the soprano Erin Nichols of the Five Alive vocal group to a Who Can Sing Higher contest. And guess what? He usually won. He graciously hosted a different politics in the arts class while he was completing graduate work at NYU. He showed the class and me highlights of Soho, Lower Manhattan, and invited us to his apartment in Greenwich Village. He was on his way, receiving contracts for his artistic work. He then gave back to us and those students from Southwestern by sharing his time with us while we were in New York. I think Brandon is the first person I knew that I could find on IMDb. So I found that to be quite thrilling, actually. Brandon Q. Smith, graduate of 1998, grew up on a wheat farm in Mantur, Kansas. Armed with bachelor's degrees in English and music, he was accepted into the prestigious design program at NYU, the Tisch School of the Arts, where he earned his Master of Fine Arts in Design for film, television, and theater. Brandon lived in New York City for 7 years, working as a production designer and graphic artist in film and television. This included 3 years on Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, and art direction of music videos and magazine cover photo shoots. In 2008, he moved to Boston to begin designing graphics for feature films. He is a 2-time Academy Award nominee for his work on American Hustle and The Town. Brandon and his husband, Tim, are entrepreneurs who run a successful graphic design and web development business. Please welcome Brandon to the Fine Arts Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Thank you. First and foremost, I want to thank the Academy for this award. Did you know that the Academy Award winners only have 45 seconds for their responses? But lucky for me, they tell me I have 3 to 8 minutes for this little chat. And just for the record, Dr. Shook, if you have plans for the orchestra to cut my speech short, I have 6 short words for you. It ain't gonna happen, Shooky baby. I guess I want to start by thanking the college and the Board of Trustees for the gracious $1 million prize package that accompanies this award. $1 million is a lot of money to a kid who grew up on a little wheat farm in southwest Kansas. In fact, it's life-changing. Speaking of that wheat farm, I wouldn't be where I am today without the support of my parents, Lois and Mike, my grandmother, my husband Tim, my sister Leslie, Ann Davis, the entire Murat family, Jan and Ken Hathaway, and all the great people from my hometowns of Mantur and Johnson. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for everything. There were a lot of things I thought I'd be when I grew up. There was the requisite dream to be a NASA astronaut, or a hotel and restaurant manager, or a fighter pilot. But perhaps most of all, my dream was to be a professional whistler. Luckily for my family, I spent most of my time outdoors and could whistle under the vast Kansas sky. I would only stop practicing when my ears were ringing from the shrill cacophony released upon my eardrums for hours on end. But by age 14, I'd given up on my dream as a professional whistler and realized that if I was going to make my $68.55 car payment, then I needed to get realistic. So I started selling my homegrown tomatoes and fireworks. Let me tell you a little bit about fireworks, and here's a little insider secret. At the time, the fireworks markup was 500% over cost. It was with those profits that in 1990 I bought my first Macintosh computer, and the rest was history. My name is Brandon Smith, and I work as a graphic designer in art departments for the feature film industry. You can see some of my work on television shows and films like Law & Order, SVU, The Town, American Hustle, 22 Jump Street, Ted, and Carol. I work as a member of the art department, and my career has taken me around the country working with big-name stars and artists. I do everything from working with a director like Ben Affleck to craft the FBI presentation in his film The Town, to designing logos for Queen Latifah's hair salon in the upcoming new television show Star. I also get to do fun things like direct photo shoots of Jennifer Lawrence and Christian Bale for the film American Hustle. But the neatest thing about the film industry is that it's no longer concentrated in Los Angeles. You can now work in the industry in the city of your choice, from New York to Atlanta to London to New Orleans to Philadelphia and to Boston. It can really take you anywhere. And whether you're an actor, a director, a musician, a technician, a carpenter, or a graphic designer, the film industry has a place for everyone. And if you're interested in a career in film, please get in touch with me and I'll be glad to help in any way for you current students. Deciding to attend Southwestern was simply one of the very best decisions that I ever made. If you told me when I was a student here that I'd be doing this job, I would have chuckled at your naivete. But thanks to my experience here, all of my wildest dreams have come true. As a small college, these halls have a lot of heart. You are surrounded by professors who not only care for your well-being and encourage you to do your best work, but most importantly, they teach you to have fun while doing it. These professors and staff changed my life and set me on a trajectory for success. We're very fortunate to have a strong fine arts department here at SC. And while facilities, no matter how large or newly modern, fade from memory, it's assets like Dr. Tim Shook and Allison Moon that have stuck in my mind. It's not the football stadium I remember, but it's Sarah Weinert, Nan Henson, Jamie Shepner, Roger Moon, Dan Daniel, Troy Boucher, Judith Charlton. It's not how many championships our basketball team won, but it's Michelle Boucher, Susan Lowe, Terry Barnett, Phil Schmidt, Doc Wimmer, Claudia Gear, Sandy Feinstein. The list goes on and on and on. To me, it's the people who work here and give it their all who make this college great. While those of you who've already graduated know what I'm about to tell you, I want the current students to know that this is a great time of your life. Use this opportunity to venture out into the world, travel, go overseas and study where you don't speak the language. Make friends whose skin is not the color of yours. Take a risk and put yourself in uncomfortable situations. And remember, it doesn't really matter what your undergraduate degree is. Just make sure you enjoy what you're learning, because sometime in your future, you'll probably be doing something completely different. Sing in a choir, act in a show. Treat this college like an all-you-can-eat buffet and take at least one of everything. You won't regret it. So, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank each and every one of you who's had a role in my life. I share this award with each of you and want you to know it means the world to me. As I continue on this adventure called life, I will always hold each of you and Southwestern College close to my heart. Thank you so very much. Sorry, I almost forgot. President Andrews, I know you haven't been on the job long, so if my $1 million prize package is news to you, I encourage you to have a staff shakeup in your communications department come Monday morning. Corner Bank closes at 12, so we better hit the road. Meet you outside in 5? Thanks. Thank you.
That's hard to follow. I would like to thank everyone for attending this celebration of the arts at Southwestern. If you know of other worthy mound builders who should be nominated for this prestigious Hall of Fame, please fill out the form on the back of the booklet and let us know about them. While you are on campus, we encourage you to go to Darbeth Fine Arts Center to view the actual Hall of Fame display and take time to go through the President's Gallery to see the exhibit, Where Glass Meets Art, by our newly inducted Scott Hartley. Tonight, we hope you'll attend the performance by John McCutcheon in concert with South Kansas Symphony at 8 p.m. here in Richardson Performing Arts Center. If you don't already have tickets, stop by the box office as you leave, and Jessica will be happy to help you. Thank you for joining us today and celebrating the 2016 class of the Fine Arts Hall of Fame. Let's please give these three individuals another round of applause.